So I just released a new video where I showcased takeout from Cento, a local Italian place here right downtown Madison, and just how we can, in this quarantine time, we're trying to keep up those like birthday dinners and celebrations like that, and how these local restaurants, specifically Cento, can do just that and help kind of make that more normal. Really, it was a product video showcasing Cento's takeout or delivery options. And in this video, I'm going to actually dive through and break down that product video and just kind of let you know a little bit more of my thoughts as I was creating it. So if you want to be one of the first people to see when these videos are released or when any of those little product videos go live, be sure to follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm putting all of those videos. And I might not do a breakdown of every single one here on the channel just because there might be too many, or there might not be big changes from every single one. There might be more incremental steps as we go. But I'll be sure to take you along on the journey. So if you also want to see that, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these breakdowns. This Cento video was very similar to my previous one from Red Sushi, again featuring kind of the takeout from a restaurant. Both of them were also filmed early on during quarantine here, during the stay-at-home time. So I've actually, it was a couple weeks ago when I filmed them and just finally getting around to editing them now. If I were to go again, I would actually shoot things in a slightly different way. I've already learned a lot just from that experience of shooting those videos. And I want to run through a few of the things that I noticed and I really thought about in this video while I was shooting. So to give you an idea of some of the context around this is that we ordered takeout from these two restaurants and both of them revolved around some sort of actual friend engagement. So these were actually, we had plans already of going on Zoom and having a sushi dinner with a couple of friends, or we had a birthday dinner already planned where we're all getting from Cento and going to celebrate that way. So both of them were actual events, and I think that made this filming this product video a little bit interesting, because at least personally I was a little bit hesitant to try and dial in and get the exact shots that I want. So it was more of that event type of video where you just kind of got to roll with the punches and can't really ask people to do too many things or redo things, and it's just kind of it leads to a different type of video. So I have this kind of weird hesitation where I don't want to necessarily ask people to redo something or to do something a specific way, but yet at the same time I want, in certain elements, I want these exact shots in order to make this work. So I'm kind of realizing I need to be more okay with just speaking up and telling people to do something, or sitting back or just realizing that I won't get the exact shots that I want. So it's just kind of something I'm starting to realize as I do some of these videos and as I incorporate video work into just normal everyday activities. Both also have a very similar structure to them. They're kind of designed to tell a story. With Red, it's placing the order on the phone, grabbing keys, going out to pick up the sushi, bringing it back, and then placing it on the table, and then eating. And then they end with the hero shot. With Cento, I kind of skipped some of the ordering piece, but it was the reveal of the restaurant, the reveal of the sign, bringing things home, kind of setting them out, eating and celebrating. So it was kind of a natural story was in there. One thing I think with a lot of these videos, you're going to want to kind of tell some sort of story, and just that element makes it really nice and really easy because there is a beginning and kind of an end already baked in, a little bit of a journey along the way. So you just have to record during those specific steps. The other thing I did really realize with a lot of these product videos is that you want to have some sort of big hero shot at the end, kind of that element where you, at least for me, I wanted things laid out and displayed nice. I wanted some branding from the restaurant there, and we can look at what the Cento one looks like in just a second, but you wanted that branding there, that big hero shot at the very end. But in order to get that, you need to think about that ahead of time, and that needs to be one of the first things that you record, or maybe not necessarily the first things, but you need to record that shot before jumping in and actually laying things out on the table, or before eating anything, or before you destroy any of the packaging by opening things up. So kind of decide what you want your hero shot to look like. That's what I kind of had to do, how I wanted it displayed, because I could have just done the hero shot on the table and just kind of the whole tablescape, but I wanted to make sure I got the branding for the two restaurants in there. in that last shot, so that's why I had to do it before really laying things out. And so for red, there was branding on the bag, so I just had that kind of sit behind, and then I was able to open all the containers up so you could see that. With Cento, you're going to notice here, let's jump to that shot actually. With Cento, they didn't have branding on the bag, but they had it on the actual takeout containers, which was kind of nice. So one thing I could have done, and one thing I probably would do next time, is actually open up some of the containers and just have the one container in the middle kind of be the one that has the branding elements on that. So since we're here, let's take a look at my two favorite shots from this Cento sequence. The first one is actually they bookmark each other, which is kind of nice. So they bookmark the video. So the first one is this shot here of kind of the reveal of the sign. I was right next to the building. This is actually in the area where you wait for the pickup for your order. So I was by that, and then you just will slowly see the sign reveals right there. That's definitely one of my favorite shots there. The other one, and that was really just thinking about how can I use the landscape and the environment around me to do some sort of reveal of where I'm at. So I tried actually on the other side of the street using a full building, and it just didn't look quite as good as just using that light there, which I like because that light is actually a part of the Cento building, which makes that work really well. And then the other shot that I really liked from this sequence, from this video, is the hero shot that I was just mentioning. So let's take a look at that. So it's just kind of everything lined up there and just kind of slowly showcasing some of that. Now, there are a few things, let's jump back to that shot. There are a few things that I probably would do differently in the framing and just the execution of that shot if I were to do it again. But I was trying to hurry up and make sure the food didn't get cold so we could still eat it and get on the call. So one of the things I would do is I would probably at least remove the container covers of the two that are sitting down. I liked how I had the wine there. So the wine bag had our name on it, so that's part of the reason why I was trying to do that. But honestly, I'd probably pull that out so it's just the wine, and then remove the covers. And I'd do that. I liked the slide across of that shot. So I used a technique with all of these well, I shouldn't say with all of them, with both the Cento and the red video, there were, most everything was handheld, except for a few shots where I was fully locked off on the tripod. So any time the camera is moving, that was me moving it with my hands. There wasn't any movement on the tripod at all because of the tripod that I have that I was using. I only got static shots on that tripod. So this one where it moves here, and I'm going to mute the music with it just so I can see that. But this shot here where it kind of slides along, that is me just holding the camera and kind of bracing it so my fingers are on the bottom, just so because that allows me to slide a little bit better. So I had the camera here, and I just kind of swung in with the camera and was able to get that nice little arc movement. Now, if I were to do it again, I would, at the end, I'd make sure I get this shot. At least in one of the takes, I'd do one take just like that. But then in another take, I would kind of bring in and I would try raising up at the very end. So I'd go through, swing in here just like that. But right when we get about here, I would actually want to start picking up the camera and see if I could tilt it down with still a nice, slow, controlled movement. Just so you're able to display some of the food a little bit better. And then with the two containers off and possibly even slightly propped up, I might get some towels or things like that. Like if you watch the red video, I'll link to that here in the card. You can click there and watch that red video. That's the very beginning of that YouTube video. You're going to notice on that hero shot, all of the sushi is propped up a little bit, and that was just using cardboard or paper towels just to get the to-go containers up just slightly. So that's something I would redo with this shot. So those are the two favorite shots that I had in this video. And then really when I'm going through kind of putting everything together, what I did is actually I went through and found all of the different shots that I had. I went through and edited and found some of the ones that I really liked to just do a very rough edit to kind of get an idea of how long the video would be and what elements I would like. And then what I did is I found a song that I thought would play well with it, that I kind of like things, and then a section of the song. This is actually not the beginning this is kind of towards the end of the song, but not the very end of the song. So I found a section of the song that I chose, and then I'm really going through, and it's at this moment where I go through and try and line those up, the shots up according to the song. So let's listen here. You're gonna notice that I feel like the beginning and the very end was very good in this part. So the beginning kind of half, and then the very end I did a really good job. The middle got a little muddy. I should have taken a little bit more time perhaps and really lined things up or cut a few of the elements. I didn't have as many nice shots as I would like. There's a few different ones I would have changed, would have done differently, but with what I had, with what was recorded, this is how I edited it. Forgot to turn the music on. Let's unmute that. So you notice right on the beat, so I'm trying to have some sort of action, whether it's changing clips or some sort of action in the scene, kind of happening on those major beats. So let's jump back and check that out again. See, and so that right there is an example of, rather than cutting at the beat, and as you notice, some of those were definitely not cut at the beat. We have a couple good ones, and then it was just kind of flowing a little more naturally based off of the shots. But on this one, what I tried to do is get when there was the bigger beat drop, get us both like shaking our heads and like, oh yeah, this is great food, this is good food. That's kind of what was showcased here in this shot. As the beat changed, and then we kind of go back into just seeing a lot of the shots there. And then at the very end, it just kind of on that beat, just drop things off. The music went a little quieter anyways at that point, so it was just a natural way to quickly kind of fade that off and finish on what I felt was a nice strong note with that music. So that's just a quick behind the scenes of the Cento video. So if you want, like I mentioned, if you want to be sure you see these videos when I release them, or see every single one that I release, be sure to go follow me on Instagram. Otherwise, if you just want these breakdown videos, be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.